Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Once Upon a Time with Rinpoche. And today we'll be talking about Tsem Rinpoche on the internet. Okay, just got to check if I'm online. I think I am. Oops. Okay, I am online. That's good. And just to warm up a little bit and talk about things, before we go in, while waiting for more people to come. Yep. Oh, okay, I can see you guys now. I see Lily. Good evening to you. Well, it's evening here. I don't know about your side. And Sharon, good evening. Hi, JP Tong. Thank you for joining. And Negi Anand Dewash Boris. Thank you for joining us. Okay, today we'll be talking about Tsem Rinpoche on the internet. So what happens is a long time ago, when I first met Rinpoche, that is, it was not that long, but it's quite long. It was 17 years, 18, coming to 18 years this year. When I met Rinpoche, that time, Rinpoche wasn't... Actually, there was internet that time. That was like 2003. There was internet. There was... I can't remember if there was YouTube. I don't think so. Maybe there was. I wasn't really aware. And there was internet. I remember there was chat. There was ICQ. Remember ICQ? Most of us were still on Windows that time. And that time Rinpoche wasn't really much into computers, into internet. It was just out of necessity. He needed to print things. He needed to print documents, paperwork. And I remember when I first knew Rinpoche, and because that time I was working for Canon Marketing Malaysia, so I got Rinpoche a scanner. So Rinpoche could scan pictures to print it, pictures of Buddhas, of gurus, and so forth. And this one Rinpoche used to always remind me and other people as a joke, because when I installed the scanner, the language of the operating system turned to French or something like that. And then I was in a rush, I remember. So I said, sorry, Rinpoche, I need to go. And so I left Rinpoche with a computer totally in French. So it was quite funny. And then, at that time, I don't think Rinpoche was very much into internet and all that. Maybe just for communication, email. Yeah, at that time we were emailing a lot. And because Rinpoche... I remember in the earlier days, Rinpoche used to email us Dharma stories, teachings, pictures, like what Rinpoche would do later, but on the phone. Because after that we have MMS, and then later on, we have WhatsApp and all that. So that time, the earlier days, it was mostly through email. So Rinpoche would send lots of emails. Actually, until much later, Rinpoche continued to do that still. But that was the early days, okay? And then Kechara House was formed, and then somewhere in 2003, 2004, I think 2004, Kechara House was formed. And I remember, I think it was Pastor Seng Piao. He was just Seng Piao at that time. He started on the Kechara House website and also Rinpoche's website. And it wasn't a blog, it was just a website. So what happened was, and then soon after, Rinpoche gave, at that time, Rinpoche would be giving teachings and it would be recorded. It will be filmed, it will be audioly, recorded. And so it was Pastor Seng Piao who first uploaded it onto YouTube. I can't remember when was this, but it's definitely after Kechara was formed. Probably 2000. This was a time when Pastor Seng Piao was not back in Malaysia yet. that period. I can't. I'm not really sure exactly when he came back, but it was after Kechara House was formed. That's for sure. So it was during that period. I remember. Well, if you guys, there's some seniors here. If you guys remember, do correct me if I'm wrong, because my memory is hazy about the years. But I remember he was the first to put Rinpoche's teachings onto YouTube, and we love him for that. We you know, a lot of Rinpoche's teachings are now accessible anytime, any day. Just log on to YouTube and you can watch Rinpoche. And it is always good to re-watch Rinpoche because Rinpoche's teachings have this amazing quality in which every time you listen, you will glean something new. Even if you don't glean something, it will help you. You see, Dharma teachings is not something that is not just for knowledge. Most people think, oh, a Dharma talk is for you to learn something. It's not just learning. When a teacher who's giving a Dharma teaching has good motivation, there's a certain blessing. And there's a blessing of the lineage, especially someone like Rinpoche. Definitely he has a blessing of the lineage from his gurus. And in fact, it was his guru's intention for Rinpoche to teach, right? So there's a blessing. So when we listen, even if we know what Rinpoche is teaching, it has the ability to calm our mind. It has the ability to make us think clearer, not just gain information, because everybody thinks Dharma teaching is just to gain information. It's not that. It's not just that. Hence, even if you heard the teaching before, it is always good to revisit it. So it may open something in you. It may, you know, you never know, because if we do our sadhanas, our practices consistently, and we keep our commitments, we will have a blessing. And sometimes that blessing can be triggered by listening to the teaching. Most of the time it would. All right. So, okay, I can see other people now. Wait. Okay, scroll up. Scroll up. Okay, hi Esther. Okay, after JP is Esther, Hannah, Lee Fong, Andre, my cousin. Hello, good evening. Mr. Lam, Mr. Tay, Mun Ting, your Melvin, Dr. Ming, Kwang Ming. Thank you for joining. And Stanley, hello, good evening. Over here it's evening. So I just wanted to emphasize that point. So even if we have sat through all of Rinpoche's teachings, or we have heard Rinpoche's teachings from the beginning of the YouTube channel all the way to the end, right? From time to time, it's good to revisit and to listen, to help us, to bless us. You never know, something will open in us. Sometimes we see it from a different perspective and it will help us at that period of time. All right, I just wanted to explain that a little bit. Hi Jerry, Shireen, and Tata and all. Hi, good evening. So the beginning, it was mainly Rinpoche giving teachings, and it was recorded, and some of it was uploaded onto YouTube. And at that time, the audience for YouTube was not very big. I mean, that's as far as I know now, because I wasn't really much into YouTube until much later, because I think maybe because in Malaysia, in the internet service, it's only when internet got better, then YouTube became better, much more accessible. All right. But the main aspect of Rinpoche's presence on the internet was actually when Rinpoche got involved. And that came later. I remember it was 2010. Okay, that was like a good 7, 8 years after I met Rinpoche. And Rinpoche decided one day he wanted to be a blogger. Obviously, I think Rinpoche was probably inspired by something he saw or something he witnessed. I mean, I think at that time, I did tell Rinpoche a little bit about what a blog is and all that. But Rinpoche didn't seem very interested. And then, but one day Rinpoche just said, oh, I want to be a blogger. He told me. I mean, I think there were other people in the room. I remember Rinpoche was telling me, and I was like, oh, okay. So you know what's funny? When Rinpoche said a blogger, I had the impression that it's going to be a journal, because that's my idea of what a blog is. Okay, a blog is, most of the bloggers follow a traditional what do you call this, layout, in which it's like an entry per day. You can be multiple entries in one day, but you know, it'll be a journal style. It's an article and it's dated and has pictures, and occasionally and much later it'll be videos. And so it goes sequentially, you know, meaning you see one article and then you scroll down, and then the next article, when you upload, it comes on top. That was the traditional format of a blog. Well, at least the blog that I would read. So, but Rinpoche, when he developed his blog, Rinpoche wanted it slightly different. And I wasn't a part of the team that time, but I was like, okay. You know, when I heard it, and then later I looked at the blog, I was like, wow, there's a lot of things on the blog. So, but Rinpoche specifically wanted it that way. And he feels that variety on the blog would be beneficial for people. Because, well, for most people, a blog is mainly to, you know, to discuss about a particular topic or a particular item, you know, a feel, an interest, a point of interest. There are Buddhist blogs out there besides Rinpoche, but they follow that format, you know, and it's more of a journal. It's more of their experience, and then they reminisce about, you know, and they think about Dharma and this. Rinpoche do that, but Rinpoche's was more of, I would think it was more of a portal. When I look at it, it's more, you know what's a portal? It's like a news, you know, when you turn on any, today when you go onto any newspaper sites, you will see it like that. You know, there's many multiple articles simultaneously, and, you know, divided by different fields, something like that. So that's how Rinpoche developed his blog. And Rinpoche had a very clear vision as an idea of what he wanted in the blog. So he worked with the team, and if you really want to know who they are, you can see it when you scroll. When you go into Rinpoche's blog right today, you scroll all the way down to the bottom of through a lot of stuff, and at the bottom, and you will see credits, and you will see that it was Tsem Rinpoche, it was Liu, Justin Ripley, Sui Kyung as the technical. Design was Justin Ripley, the late Justin Ripley, unfortunately, Cynthia Lee. And then the content is Tsem Rinpoche, Justin Ripley. This is the beginning. Pastor Shin, Sarah Yap. And then there's Pastor Singpia, Bing Kui, and so forth. You know, and then there are other writers, of course. There are other contributors like myself. What we came in later. So that was Rinpoche's idea and concept. And right from the beginning, Rinpoche's articles was, in a way, simplistic, in a sense that it was just a one-pager about, many of them were his thoughts, his ideas about a subject matter. And sometimes it's a teaching, and then it became more involved with teachings, and then Rinpoche expanded it. And if you want to know, there's, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 18, 27, 36 topics now. Right about the top of the page, you can see all of them. Those are grouped according to the field. You know, this is Rinpoche. This is who Rinpoche is, because Rinpoche is the field of interests that Rinpoche has is quite wide. Rinpoche is not just Dharma. Rinpoche's interest is not just, although Dharma is the most important, it is the biggest priority in Rinpoche's life, the biggest passion, obviously. But what Rinpoche was trying to accomplish with the blog was to reach out. So with that in mind, Rinpoche thought that, there's many ways you can reach out to people, and that is manifest in all these, you know, fields. What do you call this? Fields. For example, like paranormal. For example, like films, food. For Malaysians, food, of course. For example, science and mysteries. For example, travel and pilgrimage. Bigfoot, part of paranormal. But Rinpoche has separated it. And then, of course, Kechara. There's so eventually, Rinpoche's blog became also a means for us to talk about the organization. It was a platform. It became a platform for Rinpoche to expose people, because Rinpoche realized that there is a audience for all these things. So when there's an audience for all these things, so that's why Rinpoche would intersperse with different topics, and people who was interested were logged on, so that's how Rinpoche started off the blog. And it became very, very successful in the sense that we get a lot of readership and from all over the world. And some even write in and get some advice from Rinpoche, and a lot have been done, and for people, especially for people in faraway places where they don't have access to a Dharma center or a Dharma teacher in the vicinity, in their town, in the state, or in the country, some even, so but they're able to communicate with Rinpoche via the blog. They're able to learn from Rinpoche's articles. There's a huge audience that are learning things, and many of them, they don't comment it, they don't feedback, but they're reading it. Okay, so you can see, because there's a lot of elements in the blog that shows you that shows you how it's reaching out. So it's what Rinpoche is trying to accomplish with the blog, with to outreach and to use people's interest, use people's interest to expose them, not just to what they're interested in, but to other possibilities. For example, Dharma. That is what the blog is doing, and hence it has immense readership, and it continues. All right. So let me see if you guys have any comments about what I'm talking about, do let me know. Okay, let me see. Okay, there's quite a number of comments. Not many lah. Just a few. Okay. Oops. Cancel. Sharon says, I'm so grateful that Rinpoche started his blog. If not for his blog, I would not have met Rinpoche and the Dharma. Oh, see, Sharon came in through the blog. And Stanley says, I'm grateful Rinpoche and his resources website. It's very organized and easy to understand. That's very good. And also Jerry says she came in from Rinpoche's blog. Wow. So that's wonderful. That was Rinpoche's intent, because Rinpoche felt that he doesn't want to travel. He's not a traveler. He didn't actually even want to come to Malaysia, by the way. Rinpoche did not want to travel to Malaysia initially. And it was because of Rinpoche's teacher, his elder in the monastery, which is Kechara Lati Rinpoche, who told him that you have to come to Malaysia to help fundraise. You speak English, you know the Dharma, you have to come. So Rinpoche initially was, being Rinpoche, because he's quite westernized in a sense. So he felt he wasn't protesting, but he felt he wasn't good enough. So what happened was, in the end, Rinpoche agreed to come to Malaysia. Rinpoche, said, in the end, Rinpoche caved in and said that, if the protector said so, I will. So Rinpoche felt that definitely the protector would say no. So in the end, the protector said, yes, it will be very beneficial, and this is what you're going to teach. All right. So, and Rinpoche came to Malaysia. And from Malaysia, Rinpoche started a number of centers, not just one. Rinpoche helped some centers start off as well, aside from his own. And so what happened was some of the earlier centers have had some problems. If you want to know more, it's all in the book. I won't go in so much into it right now. because we digress too much. But the point is, my point is actually not that. My point is actually Rinpoche being in Malaysia, he didn't want to travel out. So, but he wants to bring Dharma to the world. So the internet is the excellent way. The internet can be a way for you to waste your life away. Many people do. Meaning they go on the internet, they surf, they read news, they play games. It's wonderful entertainment. They go on YouTube, they go on Netflix. Netflix is on internet anyway. And for entertainment. And once they go over, once you spend so much time, what you get out of it, it's just entertainment, it's just time wasted. So for Rinpoche, actually, Rinpoche is not interested in the internet at all. Rinpoche is not interested in computers, social media. Rinpoche is not interested. But it was a means for Rinpoche to spread Dharma. And that's how he saw it. And so every time when Rinpoche goes on the blog, goes on eventually, that from the blog, Rinpoche progressed on to social media, which is Facebook and Twitter. All right. And also, then just the last development was actually live streaming. But Rinpoche didn't do that much of live streaming, but yeah. So it was quite nice in that sense, because Rinpoche saw it as a wonderful opportunity to spread to the world Dharma. Because what happens is when you go on the internet, you can become you can have an audience, the whole world as an audience. Hello, Suming. Thank you for your heart. So that was how Rinpoche. And then, you see, then one thing came along. Let me see if I have some notes, Where is my notes? I can't find my notes. I'm like that, I'm a little bit messy, so I just, sometimes I ad hoc, sometimes I will follow the notes, sometimes I don't, but right now I just want to see what I had in mind and I can't find it. Meeting Doji Shukden, okay, spiritual Idam Ladrang, behind the scenes, not behind the scene, on the internet. Okay, the most important, there's one thing I want to talk about was Doji Shukden. Okay, Doji Shukden is Rinpoche's practice from Kechara Rinpoche. As everybody knows, I'm sure all you guys know, most of you should already know. And because there was some controversy, and which Rinpoche spoke about at length in his incredible 4-hour talk called My Side of the Story, Doji Shukden, My Side of the Story. We should listen to it if you have not. And it's difficult to listen in one shot because it's 4 hours, but it's broken down into 4 videos, so it's more palatable. And so you can watch it and listen. And you know what's amazing? I said in that teaching, that recording, it was a recording that Rinpoche did with just a page of notes. Rinpoche typed out the notes. It's very simple notes of who, what, where, everything to do with Doji Shukden, all the points, right, that Rinpoche wanted to speak about, and he just sat there and he spoke for 4 hours. No break, no retakes. I was just flabbergasted because firstly, one of the things, I was exhausted just listening. I did not tell Rinpoche. I was exhausted 4 hours. And at the same time, incredible because it flowed. It flowed one point after another. It made sense, and Rinpoche was just. It's from Rinpoche's experience. It's from Rinpoche's realization about what's happening. It's from Rinpoche's interaction with people, with lamas, with ordinary people. So that's definitely a must listen. The second thing is for this Doji Shukden issue. The second thing is Rinpoche's biography, autobiography, okay? My journey in this life. So it will be good for everybody to read that and to listen to. And at least once if you're not. And for Rinpoche's biography, it was very difficult to read because I mean, the words were wonderful. You know, the what Rinpoche was telling was wonderful. It's just that it was emotional for me. So, yeah. So, but a lot of things Rinpoche revealed in it that we should read about. All right, especially on the topic of Dorje Shugden. Rinpoche, towards the second half of the book, Rinpoche spoke quite a bit about Dorje Shugden. And many of the things I heard of already from Rinpoche himself, just a few things I didn't, maybe Rinpoche has said, but in passing, not like, oh, this is like this is like this. He didn't really set me down and explain or any teaching or whatever. So when I read the book, it was like the missing pieces in the puzzle. So with that, I can see a bigger picture of Rinpoche's entire experience of Dorje Shugden combined with my side of the story. All right. So anyway, why I want to talk about Dorje Shugden is because the platform, the blog, became a powerful. Because by then it was towards the, I think it was just about 5 years plus ago. Right, so what happened was Rinpoche was able to, the time the blog had a sizable audience worldwide, especially among the people from within our lineage and our circle. You know, so what happened is Rinpoche used this platform to talk about Dorje Shugden. And what was amazing was Rinpoche's stance was completely revolutionary, was completely non-confrontational in the sense that Rinpoche was not taking sides. And it was also from the standpoint of existing understanding and knowledge of what's happening and what is in the, you know, about the lineage. That's where I came in strongly to help Rinpoche in the sense of research, in the sense of writing articles for many of the Shugden articles, Dorje Shugden articles. Especially my I wouldn't say my field or my expertise, but I would say it's just my passion, my interest, you know, especially about fortunately, I'm able to research in English because there are people who have translated quite a bit in books and on online places where I can find evidence, clear evidence of Dorje Shugden's practice in the past, in other traditions, and in some traditions like some certain lamas who propagated, like Tapu Dorje Shang, the lineage holder of Dorje Shugden, and to defend him, to explain, to show that his other lineages, other teachings were just as widespread as Dorje Shugden, but it's openly practiced by everyone. So it was a wonderful way to shed light on an issue that is misunderstood on the internet. So Rinpoche did that. And because of that, a lot of people initially resist, to be honest. People initially resist. People said bad things about to Rinpoche and Kechara and Shugden practitioners. Then, over time, Rinpoche became more creative. That is more Rinpoche's expertise, not mine. But Rinpoche became more creative in answering, in what do you call this? Rebut. You know, in a debate when you give a point and the other party rebuts, you know, a rebuttal. So they a justification to an explanation. But Rinpoche's way is always to shed light with knowledge, to justify with knowledge, with facts, with research and facts. So I have to do, and a lot of the writers team in the Ladrang, we had to do a lot of homework to assist Rinpoche on this. In books, me, Pastor Naral, Pastor Jinai, and some others. Anyone? Yeah. To do all this research, to do all these articles. Dorje Shugden, the Sakya tradition, and so forth. You know, and the lamas that practice them, and the previous lives of Dorje Shugden. So it was very, very important. that those articles, because you see, although people wrote about them, people had translated about them, it's available online, but most of it is written in a very technical language, full of jargons, full of Buddhist jargons. So Rinpoche and me have to work that around. Obviously, I'm not good enough, but Rinpoche would always make sure that whatever I wrote is accessible to people. And at the same time, it preserves the facts. All right, so, okay, let me see. So if you have anything you want to point out about the blog or anything about Rinpoche, do share. I would like to hear, Thank you for all your folded hands. I see Ivan, Bradley, and Chun Kong, and Keng Hoi. Long time no see, Keng Hoi. And Grace, thank you for joining. So that's how Rinpoche used his blog to spread a lot of explanations, spread a lot of knowledge about Dorje Shugden, to shed light on Dorje Shugden, to make sure people understood, to make sure people don't hear rumors, mere rumors, because there are a lot of rumors, a lot of false information on the internet about Dorje Shugden. And so that was what Rinpoche used his blog for, to defend Dorje Shugden, to defend the lineage without really offending anybody. It was just Rinpoche's way to spread Dharma. By defending Dharma, you are spreading Dharma, because when people have misunderstanding of Dharma, they lose faith. When they lose faith, it's not good for them. So what happened is, when you spread understanding of the Dharma, you correct their misunderstanding. So that's one way of propagating the Dharma. All right? Even Rinpoche in his dedication prayer always said that, always say this, to correct the misunderstanding of the Dharma. And this is what Rinpoche did with the Dorje Shugden lineage. The Dorje lineage, the teachings. And that was a specific reason. And every time Rinpoche puts up a blog, especially, you must understand, it goes with a lot of work. It goes with a lot of many nights of staying up very late, a team of us, not just the people who write or do research, the people who load the articles, load the pictures, align it, do the, the HTML programming, and the videos, the pictures, because Rinpoche wants to make sure that the information is accurate. Rinpoche would have to go through it, and it has to be, the captions have to be good, the pictures have to be good, we have to look for pictures sometimes. Sometimes when no pictures are found, we have to find ways to do the artwork. Okay, so Rinpoche, this spun off into other projects of Rinpoche. For example, one of the projects is the Remain Tankas. Okay, the Remain Tanka is, it was Rinpoche's way of spreading Dorje Shugden by having new tankas of Dorje Shugden with other deities. Because by right, this is what Rinpoche said, Dorje Shugden is enlightened, he is Manjushri. So if he is Manjushri and the other Buddhas are enlightened, there should be no competition. Alright, so there's no competition, is to spread, the idea of the tankas is to spread awareness. It is to spread solidarity, I would say. Solidarity among different traditions, that no one is against each other. Dorje Shugden is not against the other traditions, and other traditions are not against Dorje Shugden. And that they are working together, that you can pray. It is possible to take Dorje Shugden as your protector, if needs be, and it will be fine. And you will gain the blessings of Dorje Shugden along with whatever deities and practices of your tradition. So, hence Rinpoche had wanted a lot of tankas produced. Why? Because this is not for our generation. In the past, because Dorje Shugden is relatively in the Buddhist timeline of deities and practices, Dorje Shugden is relatively new, because before, I think 17th century, what happened was Dorje Shugden had been incarnating as High Lamas. So after the 17th century, he assumed the form of Dorje Shugden, and he's working as a Dharma protector to protect the teachings and the lineage. All right. So during this period, it took a while it took a bit of momentum for his practitioners to develop. And I mean, the biggest one was the Sakya. In the Sakya tradition, where there were some tankas. In the earliest tankas of tradition is from the Sakya tradition, and then later on it was after Kepche Paboka Rinpoche. Then you see a little bit more. So right now, there's not that many tankas. So hence Rinpoche want a lot because this will be beneficial for future. Okay, Rinpoche is projecting ahead. Because when there's a lot of Dorje Shugden tankas, exposure to Dorje Shugden will be greater. And it's not just for us to see, it's for future generations. It will be it's loaded up on Rinpoche's blog now and proliferated on the internet, on the social media and so forth. And many people will see when a lot of deities and practices intermix with Dorje Shugden's Ote's exposure will be greater. Okay, that's the idea. Okay, let me see. There's some comments here. Bradley says, Rinpoche's blog is the best. Always learn something new while reading it. Stanley says, I'm happy that Rinpoche used the internet to spread Dharma. Oops. What did I do? Sorry, I clicked on something and the screen disappeared. Fiddly. Give me a moment. I just lost the comment. Okay, I got it back. Okay, this is what Slaney says. I'm happy that Rinpoche used the internet to spread Dharma, especially Rinpoche making practices like Dorje Shugden accessible for practice for everyday people. And then Sharon says, it's really inspiring how Rinpoche courageously spoke about Dorje Shugden on the internet. Although there were many nasty comments against Rinpoche, Rinpoche always advocate peaceful and polite ways to apply with facts and knowledge. That's right. This is Rinpoche's means always to, when addressing people who talk with on the basis of rumors, on the basis of misinformation. So Rinpoche said, is always clarify with a lot of kindness and compassion and state the facts. And if they still don't accept it, there's nothing you can do already. You just fold your hands and, But always, because you always answer politely. Rinpoche always tell us, be firm but polite, and always have your facts correct. Especially us when when we help Rinpoche to address certain people, we have to make sure that our facts, whatever we tell them in return for their comments, has to be accurate, has to point to information. Because the audience is not just these people, who's making these nasty comments. It's actually other people who are watching, because there are lots of people, heaps of people who are watching, and they're on the fence. Because on the internet, Rinpoche says it's very simple. It is people who practice Dorje Shugden, like ourselves and other people, And then there is people who are against Dorje Shugden. That's one group. And then there's a bigger group of people who are on the fence. They heard about the controversy, they heard about it, but they're not sure. And probably they're not even practicing Buddhist, so they just want to know. So they're curious. So what happened is, whatever way we address them, it's important that we have information correct. It is important that we are polite. It is important that we are firm as well. We don't give in and to their misinformation. All right. So that was Rinpoche's advice for us in dealing with these people. All right. Okay. Aside from that, actually, there's one more comment that I thought was quite nice. This was actually not on this. I have to go back. It was something Pastor Shin wrote. I thought was really nice. It was her reminiscing of the times. You see, where was it? It's on Kecharian group, I think. Yeah, Kecharians. She wrote a very nice comment to my posting, my announcement of this live stream. And this is what she says. She says, look forward to your session, Pastor David Lai. Sometimes it is around this hour of the day that some of us will be called in to update what we have done for the day. And you will be there in the room, sitting on the ledge next to Rinpoche's table. Sometimes telling Rinpoche about an article we are working on, a story from the Buddhist text, or just keeping Rinpoche company, chatting about vast topics from Buddhist deities to the latest movie you watched. Yeah. It was very nice because many times Rinpoche gets his ideas from these simple conversations, and then when Rinpoche gets an idea and it's entrenched in his mind, and then he develops something out of it, and he will call all the writers and he will talk about it, and then if it's an important topic, a Dharma topic, about Dorje Shugden or just Dharma in general, Rinpoche will gather more people, whoever is available, and then he will talk. Sometimes there is discussion. Sometimes there's not. You just a Dharma talk, and then later on, from the talk we will come up with an article. All right. Sometimes when there's a discussion, then everybody will give points, and then so that all these points can be put together and written down in the article. All right, so that's become very important way of Rinpoche to develop this, because Rinpoche, even in his leisure, he's thinking about Dharma. Yeah, what Pastor Shin wrote there is actually what we do normally on a day-to-day basis. Rinpoche does a lot of looking on the internet. One of the things Rinpoche finds pleasurable, besides looking on watching YouTube, is Rinpoche. That's one of the things Rinpoche likes to do. He likes to look for Buddha pictures, and he will surf on Google. And actually, Rinpoche has shared a lot of Buddha pictures in the past to all of us. And then, so Rinpoche will look a lot, and that's something that Rinpoche finds a lot of joy, because then eventually those deities, especially the exotic deities, the deities that are the Tibetan Buddhist deities that are different, they're unusual from different lineages and traditions, and then it became a point of reference for us. We're making tankas, right? So we will look at the different depictions of a particular deity, and we pick one that we like, and we make sure that it's correct according to the sadhana. Okay, so the description of the sadhana, and then we put it into the tanka. So that's one of the things that Rinpoche like to do on the internet, on a leisure. And then sometimes we will. I know I do recall sometimes, because Pastor Shin triggered some memory in me, that I remember sometimes sitting there, Rinpoche is just browsing for Buddha images. He's just looking, and then he'll show me, and then we'll talk about it. We'll look at the iconography, and he'll point out certain things. And sometimes he will explain to me. Sometimes he want me to explain. Sometimes there's a few people, and I have to he'll ask questions, and I'm one of the people he picks. And I mean, I do like iconography, and I do know quite a bit, but I don't remember everything. So, so there are times I got, oh shit, Rinpoche asking me this question, I can't remember. So it kind of trained me to remember as much as I can, and especially in iconography, because you can actually learn quite a lot of Dharma that way, quite a lot. Let me see. Okay, now I have to go back to. Yeah, so that was what Rinpoche did that time, and then but aside from that, Rinpoche would go onto the internet and look at various things, videos, YouTube's paranormal videos. That's one of the things we actually like to watch at leisure, which is hauntings. We will spend a lot of hours, and these are from America, so I take it with a pinch of salt, because some of them are very dramatic. So I'm not sure if it's real or it's staged. Staged means it's fake, it's like they go into a house and it's a haunted house, and then you interview the people living there, and they say, oh, this is what happened to me, blah blah blah, and it's a story, and then they reenact it. There's footage, and of course the reenactment will be very it's like a movie, so it's scary, it is entertaining, it's there's thrills and spills, So yeah, that's one of the things that Rinpoche. So paranormal is one of the things that Rinpoche like a lot. Various types of paranormal, but mainly about for videos is hauntings, different types of creatures. What do you call it? Cryptid. Cryptid is paranormal creatures that is not confirmed by science, but there is a legend, or there's sometimes an urban legend surrounding certain creatures, like for example Bigfoot. Okay, Bigfoot is one of them. It's a major one of them because Rinpoche feels they are real. This is what Rinpoche feels, and he has a strong interest in it, and he doesn't know why. But among the lamas, Rinpoche said, they say it's real. And among the Tibetans, the Himalayan folk, the Nepalese, the Tibetans, maybe part of the Mongolians, the ones that live on the high altitude, what happened is they say that Bigfoot is real. It's actually just another creature, another animal. And they are huge. They walk in huge strides. They're very fast, very quick, hairy, strong, and they're very shy of people, so they always hide from people. And because in higher altitudes, people find it difficult to travel, so it's sparsely populated. So yeah, that's what Rinpoche feels, they're real. So I think later on Rinpoche realized that because one of in order to research on Rinpoche's previous life, we actually met someone, not me, but there's a group of people who met an old monk who was a student of the previous Tsem Rinpoche, and we heard stories from him. All right. In general, it is said that Rinpoche had meditated in previous lives, in faraway places, in remote places, and according to not this person, but Gangchen, some of Rinpoche's teachers. All right, it was said that Rinpoche would communicate with other lamas while in retreat through a Bigfoot. He would send messages through them, and so because of that, Rinpoche feels that's why that may be an explanation why he has this passion for Bigfoot, because they were real. They were messengers for Rinpoche in previous lives. So Bradley asks, hello, hi Andrew. Bradley asks, is Bigfoot part of the human or animal realm? I think it's animal, isn't it? Some animals are quite intelligent, by the way, but not to the level of a human being. So far, not to the level of human beings. All right, so I think they're animals. I think the Tibetans regard them as animals as well. Okay, it's just that they are stronger, bigger than us. They are about 9 feet, I think, for most sightings. In America, there's a huge movement of Bigfoot enthusiasts, So they look for Bigfoot, they look for evidence, they look for clues. Okay, so they studied all the evidence and clues, and most of them point to the fact that they're huge, but they walk in an upright manner, Unlike most ape-like creatures, like gorillas and all that hunch and their hands are longer and it goes to the floor. Bigfoot is like humans in that sense that they walk upright, and they're proportionate, and they walk in huge strides because they're huge. They're about 9 feet or taller. Right, so yeah, but anyway, that's Rinpoche's passion, and I think Rinpoche tried to instill that in a few people that's close to Rinpoche, like myself. That's one of the things that Rinpoche was not so successful because personally, I wasn't really so into Bigfoot, but I understand why Rinpoche is into it, and I understand quite a lot because of Rinpoche. Rinpoche would actually read. Some of the times when when Rinpoche is in a toilet, he's sitting on a throne. You know what I mean, right? Sitting on a throne. I hope you do. You can't read a Dharma book in the toilet, okay? So he read Bigfoot books. It used to be magazines and Bigfoot books. Now it's just Bigfoot books towards the later part of, yeah. So, and he will buy a lot, and he'll give out to some of us also to read. I have some, actually. I should read them one of these days. It's about stories, encounters, sightings, evidence of Bigfoot. All right, so that was one of the things that Rinpoche really, really liked and have a passion for, that was for many, many years, as long as I can remember. And at the beginning, Rinpoche didn't talk so much about it, but I knew Rinpoche was into it because I saw videos in Rinpoche's collection of Bigfoot. And some of them are very interesting, but it takes a while to, it's a documentary movie, so it takes a while to pick up. And then, that was just some of Rinpoche's. Well, anyway, that kind of digressed on the theme of tonight, which is Rinpoche on the internet. So on the internet, Rinpoche connected with, using Bigfoot to connect with people. Okay, so he has a blog category. I think that's what they call it. Sorry, I may have used the wrong term, but it's a category, I think. And it's Yeti, Bigfoot, Sasquatch. Yeti is Nepalese, if I'm not mistaken. Bigfoot is English, American. Sasquatch is Native American. So there's 3 there in one category. So there's a lot. There's even on deities like Tsongkhapa, like Dorje Shugden, then China. Rinpoche also have a lot of interest in China. I share that with Rinpoche as well. In a sense of his historical aspect of China, of the previous dynasties, the emperors, Chinese civilization, the finer aspects of it, And Rinpoche has articles on things like that, and a lot on books, celebrities, art, architecture, culture, vegetarianism. That's one thing about Rinpoche. Animal and a passion of Rinpoche that I've not seen with anyone. Besides Dharma, Rinpoche has a passion for animals, to help animals. And unfortunately, we haven't really found someone who, with Rinpoche had a few students who are into animals, quite a number actually, but we haven't really developed something that is for animals, like an animal sanctuary. That was what Rinpoche wanted, an animal sanctuary. So on that point, on that note, online, what Rinpoche used to do is he would look for pictures, stories, articles, videos that showed animals, whether it's how people treat them, like in the farming industry, in the poultry industry, in how animals are slaughtered, how they are reared in farms, and how eggs are produced, and how they are slaughtered, cows. And partly, why is Rinpoche interested in things like that? Because it's really scary, it's really grisly, it's really graphic, how animals are slaughtered. It's not so much as to watch it for entertainment, it is to spread awareness. Because Rinpoche feels that people don't really realize whatever that goes on our table, there's a lot of cruelty that happens for it to come to the table. Hence, Rinpoche's way of advocating vegetarianism is not on the basis of, it's bad karma, you eat meat. It's not. Rinpoche goes on the basis of have awareness of the cruelty that goes to this. So if you want to talk about compassion, you want to practice compassion, it moves you, it is a part of your spirituality, then you should extend it to your dinner table. That's what Rinpoche, and how Rinpoche does it is to raise awareness by talking about it all the time. And he realized, actually, this is what Rinpoche told me. when he has articles on his blog about such things, right? He realized that immediately when you show a picture of how the animals are, treated and slaughtered and all that, it's people do not click. The views are not there. So Rinpoche will have other things to lure people, because Rinpoche said he has a passion for it. It's a passion because he feels if we want to talk about compassion, we want to talk about awareness of cruelty, vegetarianism, and all that. You have to walk the talk in that sense. So instead of just feeling sorry for animals, crying and feeling angry and upset, Rinpoche says that the energy should be channeled into awareness, into doing something positive. That's what Rinpoche says. And so that's what Rinpoche does. And so on his blog, on his social media, from time to time, besides Dharma and all that, Rinpoche talks about such things, because Rinpoche feels that when more people are aware, more people will want to be vegetarian. Because this is not the time of, Tibet in the old days where having a vegetarian diet is very bad. Because it's very difficult. It's very difficult to sustain because of the weather, because of the condition, because farming is difficult and all that. This is a day where vegetarianism, if practiced correctly, can be sustaining, can be delicious, can be wholesome, and so it's a choice we can make. So that's why Rinpoche does all that. So these are some of the categories lah. There's a lot on, and also the movies that Rinpoche watch. Rinpoche watched a lot of movies because Rinpoche doesn't sleep. That's one thing about Rinpoche, he does not sleep. So in the wee hours, I remember many times, because I used to accompany Rinpoche through late nights. And in the wee hours, when it's like the dawn, the crack of dawn, and Rinpoche is supposed to, after unwind and go to, finish his sadhana and go to bed normally. But then Rinpoche will put on something to watch. And then, at that time, So, and then, I don't know, that was, I think, partly also my training, in a sense that, to push myself. Anyway, so my point is that Rinpoche has watched a lot of movies. Yes, there's a lot of entertaining ones, like there are witty ones, there's funny ones, there's entertaining ones, there's scary ones, a lot of scary ones. Rinpoche's favorite genre of movies is always scary movies, horror movies. And and then also there are movies that are educational, documentaries, a lot of documentaries Rinpoche loved to watch, especially of the Himalayas. Rinpoche loved to watch, especially of those trekking into the mountains. Rinpoche loves those. And I have a comment. Rinpoche mentioned that if Rinpoche didn't do Dharma, he would be an animal advocate activist. Yeah, probably. Rinpoche will be many things, a few things, not many things, a few things, but that would be probably one of those. Yeah, because Rinpoche has a passion. Consistently, Rinpoche always look for things like that to educate us, to expose us, to put it up, and to make sure that Rinpoche always find ways, look for ways to spread awareness. And it's a continuous passion of Rinpoche. It's not like one off, two off, or when he's free. It's from time to time, consistently. So if you have any questions about this, you can ask me now, because I kind of like reach my time. Rinpoche on the internet has a lot. It's part of what I do, assisting Rinpoche in those early years. And I assisted Rinpoche as kind of like an attendant at one point, and then as a writer. And a writer and attendant towards the end, whatever you call it, I don't know. There's no words to really put into a box what I do. But I help Rinpoche mainly in writing, research, attendant, a part of attendant, and as Rinpoche calls it, as a court jester. Rinpoche's, earlier he would say that. And then, yeah, it was many, many years. And a lot of years Rinpoche spent in front of the computer. Towards the second half of the time I met Rinpoche, I know of Rinpoche, right? When I was Rinpoche spent a lot of time in front of the computer doing a lot of work, especially Doji Shukden, especially all the things I've mentioned. Writing some of the one last thing before I finish for the night. Sometimes Rinpoche has a particular teaching he wants to give. I'm not talking about the live streaming. Sometimes he just, from an advice, and then he will type out. I've seen Rinpoche he gets inspired, and Rinpoche hates to write. To be honest, Rinpoche told, this is not a secret. Many people know Rinpoche doesn't like to write. And but there are times where he needs to express it, and it takes too long to tell us. When you want to express something, there's a lot of nuances, there's a lot of things that goes into it that to express it and then the person takes too long. And for Rinpoche, it's that spur of the moment because the inspiration is there. So when the inspiration is there, he has to do it. So he will be sitting there. He will write. There are times where Rinpoche writes the whole day, and then he gets me or someone else to read it through and correct it and simplify it or whatever it is. And most of the time, it's just from inspiration, from something, maybe to address a particular issue at hand, like Doji Shukden, or a student, or a teaching he needs to give, an advice he needs to give. If you are familiar with Rinpoche's blog, you would see those articles. You would see them. Okay? You will see that Rinpoche wrote a lot. All right? So that was how Rinpoche did it, because it was Rinpoche's way of benefiting people. It was Rinpoche's way of spreading Dharma, blessing people, planting seeds, exposing people to Dharma, and various aspects of Dharma, like vegetarianism, non-harming, of other fields that are not related to Dharma, but to eventually bring them to Dharma anyway. So that in the end, it's to benefit people. So Rinpoche's entire career online was specifically to outreach and benefit people. And Rinpoche would actually write to people, gives gifts, many, many times. Rinpoche has a gift room, as some of you guys know. I mentioned before about the Ladrang. Rinpoche has a gift. Started a gift cabinet, then it became a gift room. In the end, it was a gift warehouse in Kechara Forest Retreat. It's now my office, but it's a warehouse, that is huge. It was meant to give gifts. And now it's turned into an office. And it is Rinpoche's way of spreading Dharma, because one of the qualities of a guru is to give gifts, material objects, to spread Dharma. The intention is spreading Dharma. All right? So if you guys have nothing else, I will come to an end. And then my next one will be 2 weeks from now. That would be behind the scenes with Rinpoche. All right? So last week I said wrong. The previous session I said wrongly. I said behind the scenes for this week, but actually it's Tsem Rinpoche on the internet. All right, thank you very much. I'll do a quick dedication and we'll finish for the night. All right. Chanju Sanjo Rinpoche, Mangepana Gyushe, Keba Yamami Payang, Gonen Go to Pawasho, Tony Tonga Rinpoche, Mangepana Gyushe, Keba Yamami Payang, Gonen Go to Pawasho, Dazo Genes Abagewadi, Tanandroa Gona Kampada, Jebo Jozo Lozon Drapa, Tamping Porindo Sa, Sho, Kewa Gunto Yana Lamadan, Dremi Joki Pala Long Chachi, Sada Longi on Terrajuni, Doji Changi Kopang Yotosho, Kewadi Yuruda, Lama Sangi Jukuni, Chua Chika Malupa, De Sala Gopasho, Chijabo Songaba, Chosonama Peola, Keki Shama Jiwadan, Tuni Maloshansho, Dada Shangi Dosundan, Jewash Letani, Gawa Lawson Drabai, Tamparimba, Yuji, Nimundala Santala, Nemiko Interaction, Yasantatu Delapel, Consciously Jingulo, Consciously Motoso, Consciously Tashi Sho, Jazun Lama Kosa Raptanche, Namkachi, Shugipadang, Lawson Tame drawing Samsung, Drumas Tatone Yuji, Gari Rawi Koa Shingam, then Penendeva Malukawan, Chenreze 1000 Kaso, Shabi City Badu Dan Yuji, Hong Tombing or Dromalopa, Dendala Saruso, Kodan Temple Loshana, Geba Suji Shukden Cell. Thank you. Good night.